Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are in our new chapter, which is director. After we finish the whole topic of director, we're going to learn a lot of things, but there will be like 3 parts. On the topic of director, we are going to look into the first part first. And for this first part, we are looking into the qualification, disqualification, removal, issue of loans to directors. Okay. Now, in the second part, we're going to look into the duties of directors, and the last part, we're going to look into members' remedies as far as directors, breach of directors' duties is concerned. Okay. First and foremost, you need to understand what is director. So basically, Section 2, Subsection 1 of the Companies Act 2016 define director to include any person occupying the position of the director of a corporation by whatever name called, and includes a person in accordance with whose direction or instruction the majority of directors or corporation are accustomed to act, and an alternative or substitute director. So basically, the question only talks about position, and they also talks about alternate and substitute directors. Okay, but they are, what we know that most of them actually in the management part. These are directors, and there's about so many types of directors. Okay, I'm not going to look into all the types of directors. I'm going to look into the most important ones. But before that, you need to understand that these are the terms used. Different companies might use slightly different terms, but this is the general terms. Yeah. Okay. Now, there are about 9 types of directors. The first one is de facto directors. Okay. This is where the person claim or purport to act as directors. They are no longer a director. They are not even a director, right? But they acted like a director. So in this case, in the case of Corporate Affairs Commission, the defendant was no longer director of the company. His term expired and he was also not re-elected. But then he continues to participate in the management as if he was the director. So court held, despite the fact there was defect in this appointment, he was deemed to be directors and subject to various duties of directors. Why did the court recognize this? Okay, reason being, if there is a breach of duties of directors, or if the defendant made a mistake, he cannot escape liability. So the court still consider him as a director, although there was defect in his appointment. So when he breached the duties of directors, he will be punished under the Act. Okay. Now, basically, de facto director also means if he acts as a controller of a company, regardless of whether he is held out or claims to be a director. Okay. Now, in this case, Ms. Mohan Private Limited and Yasin, court held that although Yasin was not formally appointed as director, but then his involvement in the company looks like he was a director, and it seems that he is actually the person behind those activities. So basically, he is a director. Okay. I'm going to look into the next one, alternate or substitute director. This is actually defined or within the definition of director under Section 21. Section 2, Subsection 1. So, alternate or substitute director is a person who sits in as a director only when one of the directors are unable to act as directors. So, when one of the directors goes on leave, another director may, with the approval of board, appoint another to be alternate or substitute in replace of that unable director to act. Yeah? Okay. Now, the other types of director is independent director. Okay. Independent director, a person who does not have a contract of service. He does not involve in the day-to-day running of the company. He did not have any relationship with the company, so to avoid impairment on his judgment. And mostly he sits in the audit committee. So basically, the company appointed this independent director to have his impartial judgment Okay, because he does not involve in the business. Okay. Now, non-executive director normally appointed to overview the management. His function is by express delegation, and sometimes he represents the shareholders of the board. Shareholders in the board. Okay. Now, the other types is managing or executive director. This is where they are a board of director, but sometimes he also appointed as the chief executive director, or mostly we call them CEO. And most of the time they are full-time, and they are in the management of the company as employee, and they have a separate contract of service. So basically, being an employee, managing director has a special authority to exercise any or all of the board's management power. So the managing director also acts as the chairman of the board. Okay. Nominee director is a director who is appointed to represent the interests of particular shareholder or creditor. Okay, it depends, yeah. Okay, and then this another one is governing director. We rarely hear this term, but this type of director is actually the purpose is to maintain the control over the company, and particularly for family business. Okay. Now, I hope you all read those definition given by me on the types of directors. Okay. Now, we are moving on next to appointment of director. Section 196 provide a company shall have a minimum number of directors. So for private companies, at least one director. In case of public companies, at least two directors. And then Section 196, subsection 4 says that the minimum number of directors shall ordinarily reside in Malaysia and have a principal place of residence in Malaysia, and they are not alternate or substitute directors. So what does it mean is that if the company is a private company, the minimum number is one director. Meaning to say, okay, if it's a private company, if there are three directors, at least one of them must be ordinarily reside in Malaysia and have a principal place of residence in Malaysia. And what also does it mean? Well, you can appoint a foreigner as one of the directors because you have met the minimum requirement. Okay. Now, Section 196, subsection 3 says that director shall not resign or vacate his office, okay, when his vacation will reduce below the minimum number. Meaning to say, if there's only one left, he is the only director, and there's only another person who is a shareholder, okay, a different person, he cannot resign as a director, because if he resign, there's no director. Okay, so what happens that he must actually appoint somebody to replace him, and his resignation is deemed to be ineffective. Okay, there's another part which I missed out. Section 196 subsection 2 provides a director shall be a natural person who is at least 18 years of age. There is no limit on being a director, unlike 1965 Act, where there would be a limit of like 70 years, but now no more. The minimum limit to become a director is 18 years, and there is no maximum. Okay, then Section 196 Section 144, okay, Section 14, subsection 4 says, when you incorporate a company, there should be a statement from each director saying that, or confirming that they agree to the appointment, and they also declare that they are not disqualified under the Act. Okay, and then under Section 202, a person shall hold office as a director from the date of incorporation until that person ceases to hold office as a director. So subsequent directors may be appointed by ordinary resolution. Okay. Now, again, Section 1201 you should give consent, okay, when you become a director. And then subject to Constitution, Section 202, Subsection 3 says that the board may at any time appoint a director in addition to the existing director. And the director appointed shall hold the office, okay, for public company until the next general meeting, or for private company in accordance with the terms of the appointment. Okay. Now, appointment of directors of a public company is to be voted individually. And then Section 203, Subsection 1 says that the motion for appointment of 2 or more persons as directors by a single resolution is not allowed. Okay. Unless a resolution that the motion be made had first been agreed by the meeting without any vote being against it. Meaning to say, there should be a resolution, okay, on the motion that you can allow, that you can appoint 2 or more persons on a single resolution. Only then you can have resolution to appoint 2 or more persons. Okay. Now, the acts of director shall be valid by virtue of Section 204, notwithstanding any defects discovered after his appointment. Why? Because we don't want anybody to escape liability.